Hey everybody, it is Mica, and this is a bit of an impromptu video because something happened today that I want to talk about. I have a few videos in the works right now because I'm trying to expand my channel and do more and have a little bit more fun. But when this thing happened today, I felt I want to talk about it. And this is actually a subject I've been wanting to talk about for a very, very long time, but I never really felt it was my place to bring it up and to talk about it and all that fun stuff. But then after this happened today, I was like, you know what? This opens the door wide open. I am going to finally talk about this. Before I get started though, I think it's important for you to know, if you don't watch my videos, I have one big rule. I will not white knight or troll a game, because I think those things are both very, very bad things to do, especially when it comes to white knighting. I feel that we should be able to, I feel you should be able to love something. It's completely okay to love a game, to love a genre and everything, but you have to be able to admit yourself when something has flaws. Just like devs have to be able to say, okay, we're getting feedback, this is flawed. I know it's incredibly hard to take criticism. I'm a creative person too. I know how hard it can be to be criticized, but it's sometimes you just need to roll with the punches. Now, even though I feel it's important to be able to criticize, I feel that it should always come from a place of love. I never think you should do it just strictly to be an asshole, even though I know some people thrive off that. I think that we should be able to have a dialogue. We should be able to have a conversation. If you're just blowing smoke up someone's butt all the time and telling them how wonderful they are, especially when it comes to a game, that game is not going to do well, because not everything is perfect. Just like not everything is bad, not everything is good. So you have to be able to have that dialogue. You have to be able to have that conversation. And that's kind of what I'm really doing here. I'm criticizing, but it's coming from a place of love. So just putting that out there. Now, let's get into the meat of this, because today we had the merch store announcement for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and of course, that made me super excited because, obviously, I'm a huge merch guy. I'm a walking billboard for my favorite franchises and my favorite games. It's just kind of what I do. I was never able to do it as a kid, and so I'm doing it as an adult because that's the perk of being an adult. But that brings me to advertising and marketing, which is what I think Visionary Realms drops the ball on very, very often. Now, I'm a big marketing guy. I have a lot of experience in marketing. I have a lot of experience in advertising, especially when it comes into brick and mortar stores and doing displays and setups and working with employees and customers. I have tons of that, doing radio spots, doing other various things like that. That is what my experience was. And I went to school for design and art history and literature. I know, shocking. But it's really my thing, and it's something I get super, super passionate about, especially when I see a company that has a product that I believe in, that I think can go so far, but I feel they're missing that aspect, and they could go further. So, and I think Visionary Realms has that when it comes to their marketing and their advertising. Now, I don't know if there's someone in charge of marketing. I don't know if there's a team or a single person, or if it's just someone's side job, but it feels a little out of touch. And I'm sorry if you are a part of Visionary Realms and this is your marketing and that's your thing. I apologize. I hope you take this criticism as the constructive criticism it's supposed to be. So, but I think dropping the ball on their advertising and the marketing is definitely something that happens, because I know they're trying to create a game that has that old school feel. They're trying to bring the community together. They're trying to make, rewards matter. They're trying to give us back that feeling that we had and give us that one thing that is missing in MMOs today. Something that existed back in the late 90s and the early 2000s. But what I think they're doing wrong is they're advertising this game like it's being released in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I could go through a whole bunch of different like things that of like examples, but I'm going to use one to kind of keep this to a minimum. Which I know too late, and that is their monthly newsletter. I think their monthly newsletter is a giant, blaring missed opportunity, and it's because having the newsletter like it is was amazing back in 1999, 2000, 2001. I would sit there and I would read the hell out of every single word of that back then. But it's 2019. That's simply not how things are anymore. We simply have changed. We've adapted. We don't do this anymore. Now we want to have something a little bit more interactive, something more visual, something that we can see. So having to sit down, I mean, I will totally admit, I don't read the newsletter in its entirety. I skim it at best because I don't want to sit there and read page after page after page of blocks of text. It's just, it's not something that's going to hold my attention, and it's definitely not going to hold the attention of someone who is younger, who grew up on having that visual and audio stimulus. So I think it's very important that, you know, we engage that, and this is something that they're not doing. Now, the reason I think, the one thing I think they're missing out on the most, especially when it comes to the newsletter and not having that visual and audio presence, is especially when it comes to the developer interviews. Because when you watch developer interview, the best thing about a developer interview, the best thing about it is that you can hear that developer talk to you, straight to you. You can hear them talk about what they're working on, and you can hear that excitement. You can hear that enthusiasm they have for this thing that they're working on. And that translates so much into creating hype. Now, as an example, I play Final Fantasy 14 right now, and I'm honestly getting super bored in Final Fantasy 14 right now. But when they have a live letter like they just had a couple days ago, I watched that live letter, and it's in Japanese, and I don't speak a single word of Japanese. But I watched that live letter. I do get a little information when I see the pictures they show of new mounts and new stuff that are coming out, but the information I get is practically non-existent. However, I see them talking. I see them, even though I don't know what they're saying, I see them talking. I see them laughing. I see them enjoying themselves and being excited about this game and being excited for something they worked on. And it makes me excited for this game. It makes me excited. And it makes me actually want to go play Final Fantasy 14. I would never log in to that game. Like the other day when the live letter was going on, I had no plans on playing. I was actually playing Breath of the Wild again, something I've been doing. And I actually shut that off and turned on Final Fantasy 14 just because the enthusiasm of the developers made me excited for a game that I was bored with. It's very, very much a big tangible thing that I think is being missed out on. And I think one of the reasons that this is a huge dropped ball is because you already have us. We already are excited for your game, but there's a lot of people out there that haven't heard of your game. The only way I heard about Pantheon, the way I heard about it is I found it on YouTube. I was looking for something else, something new to play, and I ran across, I actually think it was, I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was probably Basgram. I'm fairly certain that's who I encountered first. And then I just watched video after video after video and everything. And honestly, the webpage was the last thing I went to. The Twitter was the last thing I went to. That engagement with the audience and having those newsletters be on video would be amazing for advertising and marketing. It's going to get a lot of people hyped up about it that may not be hyped up about it otherwise. And I know it's kind of a niche game, and that's a lot of people are gonna like. It's gonna be kind of for some people, but I know a lot of people out there who are looking for a game like Pantheon, and then they see one of my videos or they hear me talking about it when I'm playing a different game, when I'm playing like Final Fantasy or Elder Scrolls Online or whatever. They're just like, oh, I've never heard about that. And I'll tell them and I'll refer them to some videos. I refer them to some of my videos and to some of the other content creators. And they're just like, holy crap, this game is amazing. So I think that is a huge missed opportunity. So, but let's take this back to the merch shop, because I think the merch shop is a prime example of how this advertising ball is being dropped. A prime recent example outside of this whole thing. So I actually have re-recorded this video. I made a version earlier, but some new information came to light. So that's why I'm re-recording it. So this morning when I got the notification that the merch shop is live, I was super excited. So of course I went to the merch shop page, and the first thing I saw was the prices, and I was like, what? I was like, wow, this is super expensive. I mean, especially, I buy this stuff all the time. I know average prices. I know like how much things cost. And I was completely horrified at the prices of these products. I mean, especially me, beanies. I love beanies. You will always see me in a beanie. If you ever, you see me in them in all my videos, because of course my hair is very unruly. You'll know that too if you see my videos. It's usually all over the place. So beanies help keep that in check. If you ever see me on the street, if you ever see me at a convention, like I will be at PAX East this coming up here. If you see me there, I'm going to be in a beanie because it's what I wear. And if it's weather permitting, a hoodie too, yeah, I dress like a 10-year-old sometimes. But anyway, but I looked and I saw $35 for a beanie, and I was like, holy cow. $15 is the average price of a nice knit beanie. $15, $20 average price of a nice knit beanie that has logos on it and everything. So I was very, very taken aback by pricing. And I was just like, wow, this is really... no, not gonna buy this stuff, not at all. And then later on Twitter, we were told, oh well, this is another way to support the game. If you probably didn't buy a package, this is another way to support the game while getting some really nice swag. And I was like, well, that's really great, but if that is how, if that is the purpose, it should be marketed that way. And actually, Brad tweeted me back, and he's like, well, it was on the newsletter, it was on the forums, and it's on the page. I don't know what more we could do. And so the page thing, it's on the page itself now. They've changed it. But originally on the page, it was on a separate page under About Us, which... I mean, if you just go to the shop, you're not going to click on that. I mean, I never click on About Us pages when it comes to that stuff. I mean, I'm there for merch. I'm not there to learn more about you, especially if I already know about you. I already know about Pantheon. I already know about Visionary Realms. Why would I click on an About Us on the shop? Because in my mind, it's just going to be stuff I already know. And then I'm like, well, I don't go to the forums. I never go to official forums. Official forums are generally, in my experience, kind of really dramatic, I guess is the most diplomatic way to put it. So I tend to avoid them. And again, newsletter, didn't read it because I don't read it because I don't want to sit and read a block of text. It's just not how I want to spend my evening. Now, if they would have had this on video, I would have known this information because I would have watched that video, and I would, even if I couldn't visually engage with it, I would have had it playing while I was doing something else so I could hear it. This is the importance of that sort of advertising. But I was just like, it doesn't really matter, because if it is on the page, it should be ready information there. Because if you have someone coming who isn't familiar with the company or isn't familiar with the game, they're going to see these prices and they're going to be like, wow, this company is greedy, or this company is very much shady or whatever. I mean, it's not really a good first impression, or really a second or third impression. It's just really not that good. So it's very important to have information like that out there. It should have been initially marketed. It should have right off the bat been marketed as another option to support the game. But then we also have the issue of, well, those of us who've already spent, I've spent like $350 already on a package for this game. I don't really want to spend $35 on a beanie again. So I'm going to probably wait till they go on sale, or till they, whatever. But I mean, I will buy the hell out of this merch when it's available. I do hope that they come out with something with more than just the text logo, because I like something like prominent. I would like the Janisova thing they have. I would like something more, colorful, more like active to wear than just a text logo. So, but that being said, I actually want to take a look at the merch store page itself, because I think this is another thing that is kind of, I don't understand why they're doing it. So I just kind of want to put this out there as well. So let's actually turn to the merch page and let's talk about this. Okay, so now you're going to see I am on the merch page. And like I said, they changed it. They put it down here where they said all profits from the Pantheon Rise of the Fallen merch store go directly to development of the upcoming video game. Thank you for putting that on there. I think that was something that was very needed. Is it on this part though? Oh, no, I really wish they put it on here. Because just in case someone missed that. Anywho. So I know Brad said that they really can't do that much with the page. They have some sort of restrictions. But I also want to take a look at this page too, because someone who went to school, who went to university for design, this page I find a bit perplexing because it's a black box. I don't understand. This would not fly even in a introduction to advertising, introduction to design course. This just would not fly. Now, I'm not sure, because Brad said they do have some limitation, if it's because of limitations or because of something else, but I was very taken aback by the fact that it's just a plain black box. When you look at the WoW merchandise store, the Square Enix merchandise store, they're very nice. And I know those companies it might be an unfair comparison, because those companies are huge, very profitable companies, but also putting a webpage together, designing a webpage like that isn't as intensive as it may sound. It's very easy to do something like sleek and really good looking that you could do. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's because of the limitations or because, but I was really taken aback on just how plain the page is. So I mean, I think sprucing it up would do them a lot. But here was my biggest thing with this merch page. The photography, or the lack thereof, I should say, when it comes to the actual merchandise on the page. So when you actually look at the merchandise, it's stock photos with their logo on it. And it's especially bad. So when you look at this men's hoodie, you can see that's a stock photo of a hoodie with the Pantheon logo pasted on top of that. Now, I'm not sure if this is just like a day one launch thing, but this is something that I don't feel should have been here on day one launch. This is part of advertising and marketing that are so very important, because you want to make yourself look very professional. You want to make yourself look very legit. I mean, this is something that, like, this really makes you it doesn't it doesn't look professional. Honestly, it looks like you just slapped your logo on top of this. This is something that I'm a big stickler when it comes to stuff like this, because I had it beaten so hard into me in design school on, if you do something and you think it's good enough, it's not. And if you look at something and you say, I've done the best I can do with this, you haven't. You have to take it that step further. Now, I mean, obviously they have this merchandise made, so that's great. But I'm assuming they have it in the office. It would take very little time, and one person could do it in maybe a couple hours, where you could take photographs of all this merchandise and make it look very, very nice, very, very professional, very, very appealing. Make it something people want to buy. Now, I'm going to go to this again. This is, you people are going to think this is an unfair comparison, but I'm going to go to the WoW merch store, because I think this is a great example of what I'm talking about. And this is not something that's hard to do. But when you go to, let's find something here. When you go to like this hoodie, let's click on this hoodie. You have the picture, you have pictures of it close up, so you know exactly what the design is. It's not just something photoshopped over top of something else. And you have a picture of the actual product. This makes me want to buy that product a lot more than this. So, I mean, that's like one big criticism. This is something super cheap, super easy that they could do that would probably make them sell more. Because, like, looking at this, I'm if I wouldn't know Pantheon, if I'd be new to the game or new, I wouldn't even bother really looking at this really too hard at all. Especially since you bring it up. Well, what's the logo? Is it embroidered on there? Is it what? So does it even say process? And it says printed, so I'm assuming that's just printed on there. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about embroidery or anything like that. So, you know, for if I would see something that's $51 that, you know, has this sort of advertising behind it, I probably wouldn't. I really think they should have, you know, just put just a little bit more into this website. But that's just me being super picky. Like I said, this is just my design background. This is my marketing background. I would, like, even if I made my own personal merch shop, like if my channel ever gets big enough where I start selling t-shirts and I start selling hoodies and whatever else, and beanies, which I probably would do since I'm kind of known for them, I wouldn't want to put my store up looking like this. So I mean, I just kind of like, so this is like one of those things that just kind of perplexes me and makes me wonder, you know, do they have someone in charge of marketing? Or, you know, is this kind of technical limitations like Brad said? But even with technical limitations, you think that there could be a little bit more done. So I just find it perplexing on why this is the way it is. But that's just me. Like I said, I'm with this, I'm really getting nitpicky. So I can understand the prices now, knowing that they are for, you know, like helping the game. Oof, excuse me. This is also the perk of doing this all in one tank. But doing this all in one, you know, or the profits all go to the actual development of the game. It makes the prices at least a bit of a more understandable. But I wish they would do more. I'm not sure. I just don't know. I mean, maybe it's something too with the company they contract out in. They have to have these photos or something like that. But I would have kind of pushed to be like, well, I want to take some in-house photos and just see what I could have done with that, and really pushed with that. But I mean, like I said, I don't want to like over criticize. I mean, if you are the person who's in charge of advertising and everything with Visionary Realms, I don't really mean to criticize. I'm not going to tell you you're doing a bad job. I just don't understand why a lot of this stuff is being done the way it is. And I've just been wanting to talk about this for a very, very long time because, like I said, there's so many people that I meet who are looking for a game like Pantheon and they've never heard about it because it's just not out there. They've heard of games like Ashes of Creation because they are out there. And so let me say, I used to make videos for Ashes of Creation. I do not anymore because I do not believe in the company. I do think the devs are kind of shady and everything. So I stopped making them. I could have, however, rode that wave because they're so far out there and they're making so many videos and they're creating such a presence that even when I had 50 subscribers, I would have thousands of views on my videos about Ashes of Creation. And now that I'm going on a few hundred, I only have 100 or so views on Pantheon videos. And I think that all has to do with marketing and with advertising. And I'm really hoping that Pantheon, takes a look around, seeing what other companies, what other indie companies are doing, gets, someone who has a lot of ideas who can make things happen. Because a lot of the stuff, like with the photography and like putting together the videos, I mean, this is not something that needs a big production crew, that needs a whole lot of money to do, but it's something that could be so beneficial to a game, and it could really get the word out there, and it could really do so much for Visionary Realms. And I want this game to succeed so much, and that's why I'm making this video, because I really think they just need to get themselves out there more. I want this game to be big. I want this game to go on for a long, long time. I'm super excited for it. I want there to be Pantheon for a long time, and I want a lot of people to be able to experience that we had back in the early 2000s, that community, that friendship and everything. And if Pantheon can do that, if they can bring that back, that's amazing. And the more people we can bring into the fold, the better. We just can't advertise it like it's a game back from 2000. Anyway, that is my rant. I'm going to stop there because this video is super, super long already. So I apologize for it, and I will end here. Visionary Realms, you have my love. I really hope that everything works well for you. And believe me, if you ever want a super honest opinion, I'll give it to you, whether it's good or bad. So anyway, with that, I am out. It has been a hoot. Until next time, have fun.